Well, YouTubers, Jose Quiñones de CNC Do here. Today we're going to do a little wiring project because I am dying to get that milling machine operational. So I need to get this high hooked up. Let me give you a quick background of what kind of a nightmare or basically impossibility this has been. These wires were connected here, and then I thought, well, I'll be darned, this is easy. I'm just gonna get one of my AC cords that I have been using to wire the lab. One of these guys, I'm going to come either from the top or the side. But look at that, I mean, I'm getting entangled by just trying to position this. These wires are so stiff, so impossible to maneuver, and this box is so tiny, I just don't have the space. And I tinkered with this for a few times, and I cut myself, and it wouldn't go, and I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna redo the whole thing. So for this project, I went to my big box store. I think that's what I'm supposed to call it. It's actually a Home Depot. Here in the US, we have Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, and I think there are others at the north, but those are the three main ones. I got me one of these. I got me some 12 3-stranded THSN and a crimping tool. I actually did a video on the crimping tool, but then I realized I made so many mistakes and I never posted it, but I'm gonna use this guy, and then I'm gonna get me some of these crimps, and that should make my life much easier. So this is the end result, but let me show you how you are going to get your cables into the conduit. I'm gonna show you two techniques. I forgot to mention you're gonna need some wire. You're actually gonna need 4 colors. And the reason is that the box is a 3-phase power, so you're gonna need ground, 2 lives, and a neutral. But in reality, these are actually gonna be 3 sine waves because it's gonna be 3-phase power into the machine. It's gonna be single phase, single phase 240 volts into the box converter. A way of running your cable will be to get your four wires and just push them in like this. In theory, because this is so stiff, they will go. And you know, it just gets tougher and tougher as you are moving, but you just keep on pushing. And in theory, eventually it's gonna show up. Now, what I'm doing here is not the right way, because I am pushing wire. There it goes. And this is okay for this kind of length. In reality, however, electricians, people that they know what they're doing, they actually pull wire. They don't push wire. This working here because this was only 6 feet, but if you were doing hundreds of feet, like they had to do for my shop, there is no way this would have worked. Let me show you another technique that is better. Takes a little bit more time, but it's just better and will definitely work regardless of the distance. So for this step, I'm gonna use one of these, what do you call it, fishing tapes. I'm gonna go fishing. I don't know what I'm gonna get, but that's the premise. I'm gonna fish. And the way this works is that you can feed this through the conduit. And there are 100 feet worth of this kind of a springy metal fishing tape. And you know, this is meant to be pushed into the conductor. So you only do it once, and then you can put a bunch of wires in here and you can pull them into the conduit. Let me see if I can show this to you. So as you can see, the fishing tape came on the other side. So now you take your wires and we're gonna connect them into this guy. I like to do a little bend just to make sure they're not gonna fall on me. And of course, this has to be a smaller diameter than the diameter of the conduit. So you're gonna have to accommodate this a little bit. And then we're gonna use electrical tape to make it as thin as possible. to make sure that they're all pulled in unison. This is conventional electrician stuff, so if you have done this before, you already know this. I have done this a few times. I'm not an expert, I'm not an electrician, only a tinkerer. Okay, this has to be thin enough so that it will go through. It will go through right now. It's good enough, but I'm gonna have to put some force into it. And you know, in real life, if this was hundreds of feet, you will have to put some kind of lubricant in here, and somebody will be helping you because the wire is gonna get entangled. And of course, in here, you know what? Let me work on this a little bit because right now it's kind of hard. And eventually it will come on the other side and you have done your fishing. Hopefully you have a license. So I removed the wire because I want to show you a cool little trick that I learned while routing power to the workshop. We had an issue where the cord that we had left inside of the 330 feet worth of pipe got entangled and the electricians couldn't do the power wire. So we used this cool trick to put a little strand. Let me show you. Say that you don't have a fishing tape. I'm going to show you a cool little trick that you can use with some incredibly easy to find and cheap twine. So when I was routing this guy for the 330 feet worth of this for my shop to do the power, we had an issue where the cord that we had left inside in here so that we can pull the final strand, it got busted. So we had to find a way to put a new strand. And the pipe were already buried it was like 4 feet. So we used one of these bags, we put it inside, and we suck it in with a vacuum cleaner. Of course, that's not going to work here, but what we can do is take a little portion of the bag and then tie it into your twine here. Basically, what we want is something that will run through that conduit that will be sucked by a vacuum cleaner. So I'm going to use my chop back here. This is going to get noisy, so I'm going to mute that out. But I'm basically going to suck the twine. So now you have a cord, and you can use this cord to either pull something that is either stronger, or you can probably use this to run your wire. Let's give it a try, see if it works. Same as before, we're going to do a little nut here with the wires. I'm going to bend them up a little bit. You're going to grab them up. You may need to massage this so that the diameter is good enough. For this one, you may want somebody to help you because I don't think this twine is that strong, but we'll see. And here we go. We were able to route 4 wires by using twine without a fishing tape. All you need is a vacuum cleaner. So now I have my cables. I'm going to splice them up a little bit. And now I'm going to use some of these rings. Side notes, important thing to have under consideration, you need to use the right gauge connector. These are 12-10, so that means that I can either use a 12 or a 10 gauge wire. I will not be able to use anything smaller than that. I would not be able to put a 6 or a 0 or anything that huge because the diameter is obviously smaller. You do not want to cut strands to be able to fit it in, because you're basically affecting the rating of the entire assembly. Remember, this is a gauge 12, so that's 20 amps. 10, I believe, is either 30. I don't remember exactly. But now I'm going to use this crimping tool. I'm going to leave a link in case you're interested in one of these. These are fantastic. They were only $25. Way better than the chintzy piece of junk that we get when you buy 300 pentillion crimpers for $5. This is something that you can truly toss it out because it's kind of junk. I like my ratchet tools. I've been wanting one of these for a while. You open it up, put your crimp, grabs it. Now you can let go and it's there. Put it there so that it's where it needs to be, and then you crimp away. This one is rather strong, so I'm going to need to use both of my hands. That's a beautiful crimp. Okay, I'll do them all and show you on the other side. The conduit comes with these two fittings. These are supposed to be watertight. I don't know that I need that. I mean, this is a milling machine. It's not a CNC with a flood coolant, so I don't think I need this kind of level, but I'm going to use it anyway. So all you have to do now is screw this guy into the right side. So this is going to be my three-phase inverter box. Make sure you put it right. Basically, you just screw this guy in. Once it goes in, it's really hard to take it off. This guy is there for good. So the reason why I wanted this connector in here is because I'm going to use those screws to grab both wires. On the machine side, I actually have terminal blocks, so I got to use this style on the machine. Now, something I like to do is to color code my cables, my wires. This is not a neutral, it's going to be a hot. It's going to be the red. So I could have bought 12-3, but then I would have been wasting one wire. So what I'm going to do is label it, because at the end of the day, if 30 years down the road, once my kid inherits this machine after I die, he opens something up and he sees a white wire, he may think wrongly. This way, it's known that this is alive. It's pretty obvious. Well, finally a good connection that looks good, and this is going to close nicely. So the way that this works is the line power comes from this side, and the two lives are connected to these two guys, and that's going to generate two of the phases going into the machine. The third phase is connected into the center, so only the box is going to be generating this phase by using these two. That's how it's supposed to work. Now I'm going to connect it to the machine and see if we have power. Well, YouTubers, moment of truth. I'm going to plug this in. I have double checked all of my connections. I'm thinking everything is good, but you never know. I do so many stupid things every now and then. Hopefully this is not one of them and they just find me like this. I hear a hum. I do not see a light. I hear something. And the machine is alive. So that is fantastic news. It worked. I guess I gotta do a little bit of preventive maintenance, making sure everything is perfect. And then I will be milling. I want to thank you for tuning to my YouTube channel, and we're going to see you on the next one. Man, that humming is incredibly obnoxious. I think I'm going to have to be turning this off every time I am done with it. I can probably use it for lightsaber fights.